You're watching On Air Podcast right here. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of one of the first videos that I ever watched. It just popped up on my feed COVID time. And I still remember there's a video, if I'm not mistaken, double check this. Garlic is not going to save you. I believe something like that. There was a video of you which said, well, garlic and what was the other thing that we were promoting at that time?
Ginger.
Ginger and garlic will definitely not save you. And I was going through that.
Oh, that was during the migrant crisis.
This the COVID time, right in the beginning of COVID, I believe, right? And I think so, right? Garlic and ginger, right? That's what it was, something like that, right? I remember I was going to, I was like, oh yeah, she's 100% right, 1,000,000,000,000% right. Even though we had no idea what COVID was, whatever that was at that moment, right? And now, like, we're feeling as a system. Again, not trying to go political here. We're feeling at that moment. Not just us. Everybody was struggling at that time. You stepped up. You were stepping up, and that gave a lot of people hope as well. People young, especially young people, because I was reporting at that time. I was just following your story as well. I was following what's going on at the time there as well. And then that country was shut. But you're like, no. I'm bringing everybody together, at least in my community, at least my circle, and we're going to go and we're going to fight back, and we're going to help and support our people who are coming back. You were stepping up. Because of you, a lot of people stepped up at that moment, from what I recollect from...
It was a beautiful moment. I loved that moment. It's one of the proudest moments of my life, yeah.
Okay, let's get into COVID. I'll jump back into other things. What made you take that step? Like, what goes in you, like in your heart, in your mind, without Maggie, without... the words that I'm looking for is you're going to probably gain, like, there's no gaining in this, you're not gaining anything from it, selfless. Like, how do you do it? Can you explain that to everybody?
Okay, so I'm a Karnali girl. I work with the people. I'm very, very in touch with my community, and I work with the poor and the women and the vulnerable and the orphan and the widow. That's my jam. That's my spot. You don't see me at things like CNI. That's why we've never met before. I'm there. Yeah. I don't come here. If you see me in the streets of Kathmandu, it's a very rare moment. That's my home. So I'm very, very in touch with that migrant community, with my region. And nobody actually knows this story. I'm so glad you asked. So we're watching, and we work with daily wage laborers and very, very day-to-day, people doing daily wage labor work. And a daily wage laborer, they make their 300 to 400 rupees a day. They go and they feed their family. Well, all of a sudden, daily wage labor stops. Like, even if you wanted to work, you couldn't. Okay, well, the next way people survive in Karnali is migrant work. Right? India's shut down. Migrant work now stops. We're also in between growing seasons, which is why all of the 5 million migrants are across the border. They need to go get food for their families and send. The average migrant in a season makes about 30,000 rupees. They bring that 30,000 rupees back to their villages, Mugu, Humla, Dolpa, far west, eastern. And that's how they subside through those times. Well, now that's out, wiped out. We're between growing seasons. The locust came in, wipes out the corn crop. And all of a sudden, we're like, people don't have food. And nobody's like saying anything. And we go into a home, Saksham and I, one of my colleagues, and there's like a woman grinding up chili powder to feed her family, like chili. There's literally just chili pepper there. And we start to get really scared, and we start kind of gathering food and supplies, and the supplies are not coming in. Everything's shut down. So we're scared already. And 3 weeks goes by, 4 weeks goes by. You can live off savings for so long. Okay, then people are going hungry, and people start to show up at the gates. And like, we're talking pregnant women who just delivered babies, their skin and bones, have not eaten.
At your gates?
Oh, yeah. There was no food.
At Kopila, like people just started
showing up at the gates, to the point where we're like, oh gosh, we're in a situation now. And I've never seen anything like this. I've lived here 17 years, I've never seen a food crisis like this. So I go on to high alert. We start talking about it. We start advocating. We start meeting with local governments. We start, kind of ringing the bells a little bit of like, we're in a situation. And everyone thought, okay, it'll be 2 weeks. You remember the beginning. It'll be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're into 5 weeks and things aren't looking good. Then 2-3 months. So we start this like local food campaign. We source all of our food organically from local co-op farmers. Beautiful. It's called PGS. We have this. We're already sustainable because I told you we're a green school, we're a community-based school. So we've got all this awesome food. We're getting it to the poor. Well, then the chief minister calls Saksham, my colleague, and I in. And we're talking about the food crisis, and all of a sudden he's like, we've got a bigger crisis on our hands. Right across the border, we had hundreds of thousands of migrants flooding through. But Nepal had created a policy that the borders were shut. So now we've got millions. We've got Nepali migrants walking hundreds of kilometers on the back of trucks, swimming across rivers, and it hadn't entered the media yet. This was like the first days of this crisis kind of starting to happen. So the chief minister says, will you go have a look at the situation? And there were these like buses of migrants and people kind of camped out at the border area. And we're at Karnali, the entrance into the region where all of these migrant workers are coming from. So we get in our car, we get a government pass, we drive down, and I swear to God, Sanjay, I have never seen in my life what I saw that day. We had babies on the side of the road. We had children who hadn't eaten. We had young men and women, because your average migrant is a young man or woman. We had old grannies and grandfathers who'd gone over to Lucknow for medical treatment and gotten stuck for months. And that money had just, the economy had shut down for 2 months. So all of that migrant money had been gone. They didn't have money to get back. They were coming back empty-handed, and there was no food, no water. We're like walking through the jungle. People are breaking pipes to find water. And hunger, thirst, like I had never seen in this country. And I'm just like, as far as the eye can see, we're walking like down the road at the entrance, and we can't let them in, we can't let them out. And there's no food, and there's no money. And they're not even allowed to go to the shop if they have money because the country shut down. And I was like, we call the ministry, and we're like, this is not looking good. This is not looking good. I'm going to tell you right now, this is not looking good. We start calling everyone, just like make food, get water, get everything. And people are going to die. There's a dead body that comes off of a bus, 18-year-old. And Saksham, he's actually from Lalitpur. Comes from a really amazing family. He went to Ratu Bangla, and he's very proud Nepali. And we're driving back. We have to go tell the chief minister what we've seen. We're going to try to troubleshoot this. And he's like, this is the first day in my life I've ever been ashamed to be Nepali. Ooh. And then I look at him, and I'm like, we have to do something. So we try, but it's like drinking water out of a fire hose when you have thousands and thousands of families and kids, and it's life or death. And we're calling our local Momo shop, Takali, and we're doing everything: chow mein, food, rice, water bottles. And finally, that night, we feed everyone we can. We get a few busloads through. We negotiate that they're allowed to stay in certain places because no municipality would let the migrants in. The migrant stigma is for real. I start calling my friends, Raj Gawali, Ben. They all worked on earthquake, mass issues. I'm like, what do we do? And we realize we have to change the migrant stigma right away. And so all of us influencers, all the celebs, we like started a WhatsApp group, you remember? And I'm out on the streets that night. I haven't eaten, I haven't drank. This is like day 6.
Yeah.
And people are still in dire needs. And karabayo. Like people are so thirsty, they haven't eaten, they're fainting, it gets hot. And I just say, that's it. I'm bringing it to social media.
Yeah, that was the moment you were like, all right.
And then it went viral from there. All you celebs came on board. And in a couple weeks, we launched Welcome Home Nepal, changed the migrant stigma. It went completely viral. I slept out on the streets one night with all of these sisters and mothers and small children. And by the time I woke up after an hour, my phone had like 100 missed calls. The U.S. Embassy, USAID, UNICEF, Red Cross. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we had a meeting with every single INGO in the country. And we created a nationwide chain to bring home 5 million migrants. Young people came out at every border. We geotagged. We had data analysts, like all the ministers' kids were in, like geotagging borders, calculating how many hundred thousands of meals were needed, how much water, and building latrines, building toilets, rotaries, youth groups. And it just, it gives me goosebumps. It's like, what is possible?
Yeah.
Real people, every influencer, every celebrity, every Miss Nepal, like everyone was just like, this is not okay. And we're going to do better. And we set up quarantine centers. We talked to mayors. We got soaps. We had like Nepali soap makers making soap in their bathtubs to keep people safe, sending cotton masks. Kokroma was making baby clothes for all the babies born in quarantine centers. It's the most beautiful 18 years in this country, and it's the thing that I'm like, Nepal's going to be fine. We're all going to be okay. Food came in. Corporations were donating Kit Kats. It like became this like, we're all Nepali, welcome home Nepal. And the migrants are the ones holding this country up.
Yeah.
The whole country is being sustained by, like migrant work. So where's the respect? Like, where's our brotherhood, our sisterhood? And so the Welcome Home Nepal did that. Everybody recorded videos, and it was beautiful. It became this magical experience. And ever since then, I'm just like, anything's possible here. It's going to be okay. I believe in it. I believe in this new generation. I believe in the youth. I believe in us. I believe in the celebrities here. I believe in the goodness of this place.
Yeah.
I stay away from I stay away from the nonsense, and I just focus on what's real and true and the heart and the heartbeat of this country. And I'll believe in it till the day I die. Whether you're here or you're abroad, being a Nepali is something special, and we'll continue to make this place all that it can be. I know that.
तपाईले हाम्रो क्लिप एकदमै एन्जोय गर्नुभयो होला अब पुरै भिडियो हेर्नको लागि चाहिँ युट्युबमा सब्स्क्राइब गर्न नबिर्सिनु होला This program is brought to you by Vyas Studios